So when I first did this production, when it was created in 2004, the director was Colin Graham, who has since passed away. He was a very dear friend of mine, and actually my son is named after Colin. This was my first Butterfly that I did here in Minnesota, and I've since done it 5 other times, so this will be my 6th time. And I've done this production, this is the 4th time I've done it. Colin Graham was the perfect person to do my first Butterfly with. He lived a lot of his life in Japan, spent a lot of time there, so he knew a lot about the culture. And his production really incorporates a lot of Japanese culture. It is about the clash of cultures. So, I mean, he had lots of little tidbits of information that were wonderful, like about how to hold the knife, you know, how you commit the suicide at the end, how to do a curtsy, how to hold your hands, you know, various things like that, so you can appear even more Japanese. And I had done a lot of research, and I still didn't come across maybe, you know, half of the information that he gave me. So it was really incredible to do my first Butterfly with him, and I've retained a lot of information and since passed it on to a lot of other directors and other Butterflies that I've, you know, come across who've asked about information that I got from him. So that's been fun to pass on his legacy in that way. I think this production is very beautiful and very simple, and in that way I think it's very Japanese. I think the Japanese culture is all about simplicity and elegance in the details, and I think that's what this production is about.
This will be my 108th performance here. I've done many times, but what makes it so fresh is that I always have different cast members, different director, different sets, different location, different country, different city. So every time it feels different.
Right now in my mind I'm concentrating on Act 1. Well, we haven't got to the end yet, and so in my head I'm weighing the east-west thing, but from an Act 1 perspective when we meet them both for the first time. And Pinkerton isn't doing anything out of the ordinary, and neither is Butterfly. As far as meeting someone and going out and understanding that this is a short-term prospect. And it's only when Butterfly decides that she thinks that this is real love, that we kind of get in trouble with our story, isn't it? Because that's where we get to the end. We need to try to find a way, and I think we do, find a way to make it okay. I have done this particular show in presidential election years. And it has nothing to do with parties, right or left wing or anything like that. And has everything to do with me thinking about America's place in the world, because it's always in the news during the whole time when we're doing the shows. It's just coincidence. And this is the first time where I've finally given Pinkerton a pass. The other times we've done it, I've always come away absolutely hating him. And this is the first time really thinking about it more and more and doing it again and figuring things out and trying to come to it fresh every time, is that I'm giving Pinkerton a pass and that he's not such a bad guy. What happens in the end is terrible, but Pinkerton is just doing what was expected and what was natural for a young lieutenant in the Navy. I mean, sailors have stories for a reason, and having a girl in every port for a reason, and so I'm giving him a pass. Butterfly now gets some of the fault, doesn't she? Because she really has misinterpreted everything that's going on, and she's 15, and she's fallen in love, and who can blame any 15-year-old from doing that?
And you know, the character that I've had for Butterfly has changed over time. It changed, you know, I've added layers from different productions that I have. I think originally when I did it, she was very, you know, I had in mind that she was very Japanese and very polite, and you know, I tried to keep that, I had in my mind that you keep that sense of being socially proper. And then I kept that through this production, you know, several times. And then I did a production in Santa Fe, and it was very different, very, very different. And the director really wanted me to let go a lot of this Japanese ideas that I had and really incorporate some bratty teenage ideas. So, and then I kind of added that layer, you know, so some of the insults that she has are not polite and not hidden in smiles and coyness, but direct and almost rude. You know, and I think that also adds that layer, as we were talking about earlier, about a layer of youthfulness and teenageness, is, you know, being a little bratty. I'm just kind of looking forward to taking a look in retrospect as to how, you know, when I originally did this here in 2004 and how I've changed as a singer and as a performer. Now that it's 2012, just I'm curious to see how different it will be, you know, getting back into the Ordway and into the costumes. And even though I've done it before in other cities, I don't know, it's just something, you know, it seems like here I am, you know, 7 years later. I'll be curious to see how I feel about it this time around.
Certainly helps that I grew up in an Asian culture myself. I grew up in Korea, and I always try to remember how I was when I was a teenager, 15 years old, when I fell in love with someone. Although Cho-Cho-san's time was much earlier than my time, I certainly think there's a relation and connection of this teenager girl falling in love. Then I think the girls, that we would give everything for this love, because that's all we think of, that's all that matters in life at the time, right? So that happened to her, Cho-Cho-san. And also because of her personal background, she really did not have a very happy family, probably very poor. So she was ready to escape that misery, and she meets this American man from different culture, which was probably so attractive to her. So she really fell for it. And then it was so shocking that she was betrayed. And she did the best thing that she thought it was the most honorable thing. So I really, I can say that I really understand her.